Hello folks, welcome to our channel again today. We hope everything's going well with you right here where I'm at anyway. The weather's good right now, sun is shining, there's a soft breeze, but it's not that way in many parts of the world today. We have fires going in Canada and parts of California, and that's not even counting the droughts and the floods almost at the same time in India. Mud flowing down the mountain and hillsides, washing people away and killing them. There are floods also happening in the United States and various parts of the East Coast. It's amazing. You have tornadoes hitting places they never hit before in the United States. Many places are going underwater. Droughts all over parts of Africa, all over China. Droughts and flooding. Most of the world is being devastated by nature because of the things that the human beings have done in order to try to control nature. I remember when I was young back in the 60s, people used to talk about conquering nature. They bragged about how human beings, through their technology and chemistry and all those things, had learned to conquer nature. In our ignorance, we didn't realize, you see, that we were not separate from nature. And conquering nature meant conquering ourselves. There was a better way to conquer ourselves, though. And that way was to become healthy mentally, physically, and spiritually by getting rid of these ideas of the need to fight and conquer so that we could learn to live in harmony with every living being and in harmony with ourselves, to find the beauty and the wisdom within ourselves, to be able to accept what people often pointed out as faults to us, and to be able to determine what was our hopes, dreams, and desires in comparison with what we were being fed through the TV, radio, and various religions. You see, it's not about fighting against ourselves. It's not against going to war. It's against learning to live with and understand that which we perceive as different. And so instead of trying to destroy nature and the world, and even in spirituality they talk about destroying the ego, we learn to work with it, to heal it, to exchange resources so that we are drawing from the energy and resources of it, and in a balanced way are giving back the special powers and the special gifts that we have as divine beings. But that's hard, isn't it? It's mainly hard because we have not been told that we are divine beings. We've been told that we are sinful, horrible creatures, born in sin and shaped in iniquity. We've been quoted a quote taken out of context, you see, because that quote came from a prophet who was speaking to a group of people who was standing right in front of him, and he was telling those people, you have been born in sin and shaped in iniquity. He wasn't saying anything to us. He was talking to a person or a group of people right in front of us. That would be like me seeing a person who always wears white clothing and saying, you always wear white. And then 100 years later, someone picks up the book and says, you see, we're always wearing white because it says in this book, you always wear white. That would be ridiculous. But that's the way most of the Bible is read to us, out of context, and used as a whip to beat us into submission. And this can also be said about many various religions who seek power over instead of power with. As soon as you hear a group of people or a philosophy that seeks power over nature, you can be sure that it is also seeking power over you, because you are part of nature. It wants to control your mind, your heart, your emotions, and you will only be seen as something good and acceptable when you allow that to happen and you become an arm that oppresses and suppresses other people, forcing them to live lives of quiet desperation, as is the saying in the UK. Many of us are living lives of quiet desperation because we're living in a little box that was designed for us by someone else. We've learned to accept that box. We've learned that living in that box is the only way. And seeing outside of those four corners frightens us to death. When we look outside of those four corners, you see, it is natural to be curious, but not afraid. But our system has convinced us that that feeling that we feel when we're curious is fear and discomfort. It has actually tagged on meanings and words onto the natural feelings we have and made them into something bad and to be avoided at all costs. So our curiosity becomes fear. Our curiosity becomes prejudice. Our prejudice, instead of being seen as curiosity and drawing us near to something, has become discrimination and fear that causes us to be pushed away from what we ultimately need. We don't need to conquer nature. We need to know nature, to live in harmony with it, and to be able to help heal nature, not only the nature outside, no, the nature that exists within us. And when we can heal that part of ourselves, the illusion of being a separate little being, like a billiard ball, bouncing around, and that risk of being destroyed by a fearful, horrible universe, becomes something that is moving and living and having its existence in a beautiful, powerful, dynamic universe that always makes sure to bring forth life out of death, to bring forth growth out of disaster, to bring forth strength out of accident, if we only have the mindset to do that. We have all been held hostage, friends, by all of these institutions that were supposed to help us become strong and set us free. When we became strong, instead of allowing us to be birthed into the world as new, powerful human beings, they have refused to let us be born and have used that power, the intellect, the wisdom that we have, to further the objectives of a very small group of people riding on the top of a pyramid, and it's not even enough. In some places, in some countries where they have dictators, you say, if you keep your mouth shut and pretend like it's not happening, you can do well. But in our nation, you can't. In our nation, you have to become an evildoer and a persecutor, doing what is in line with those at the top who do that, to be all right. That is the difference between a liberal democracy and a dictatorship when they are going in the wrong direction. You see, it doesn't matter what the form of government is. What matters is what is at the heart of the people who are in charge and the people of the nation. And as long as we consider this world a world of danger where we have to fight and do violence and kill, and where discomfort is the biggest sin of all and proof that God hates us, as long as we live in that mindset, we won't have peace. We won't have love. We'll just live lives of quiet desperation, drinking alcohol maybe, taking drugs, having all kinds of strange sexual activities, or even collecting stamps, playing sports until we can't run anymore, doing all kinds of things that will help us avoid the feeling of quiet desperation. Well, we are at a time where we can end that. We can realize who and what we are, and we can enter into the world, the universe, as it is. Because in truth, the universe is a place of joy. We enter into Satchit Ananda, the mind of joy and bliss. And then we choose how we act and react, and we are able to work together to create a better world. And that is what we're about on this channel. If you like what you're hearing, hit the bell so you'll know when we put up a new video, and subscribe. Hit the like button. Help us spread this message throughout the world and help create a shift that will lift us higher and higher, and not only that, take us deeper and deeper into reality so we will be free. Thanks again. Remember to subscribe, hit that button, look at the description for more things we're doing. Visit our website, and we will realize on the day when we awaken, when we become woke, that we have overcome.